There's been a battle between Apple and Facebook for quite some time, and the major point of contention for the two is something called app tracking transparency, which is a feature by Apple that came in this year. So what is it?
So this app tracking transparency is basically the thing that's really hammered a hole in Facebook's earnings, right? This is when you go and ask people if they want to be tracked, and everyone's like, yeah, I'm sure they'll say yes. And surprisingly, shock horror, people said no. And that's created a big furor and damaged the digital ad thing. And Apple's going further and further, right? Because clearly it's onto a winning streak here and it just wants to do more.
Yeah, that's right. There's been a really big build up to app tracking transparency. It started over a year ago, before iOS 14 came out, and there was a big delay of this feature coming in. It didn't actually come in until April 2021, so this year. The feature is where an app will come up and it will say, allow, say, Facebook to track you across apps and services, and you either allow or you don't allow that. Now, lots and lots of people are not allowing it, unsurprisingly. When that happens, that takes something away from Facebook called the identifier for advertisers. So that is an identifying number which is related to your phone, which can see how you've interacted with adverts, so how well they've worked. So if you've gone onto a website of someone who's advertised to you on Facebook or Instagram, and you have then bought something, you might have even gone through Google, but they can track that. Without that, they can't measure the effectiveness of campaigns. So it's a big, big issue.
Well, this is the interesting thing here, is that although you can turn off the tracking per se, they're still tracking you with what you're viewing on Instagram. So for example, if you're into, I know I'm into surfing related feeds on my Instagram, and therefore they know that I'm going to be interested in having surfing related adverts on there. So although they're not completely tracking me, I'm stopping them from tracking me, they still know some bits about me. It's just not as personal as it has been.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that this limits tracking, but it doesn't stop tracking entirely. It doesn't even stop tracking entirely on your iPhone. What it does is, instead of the identifier for advertisers, from a technological point of view, what the person will get is a string of zeros instead of your identifying number. So that can be physically taken away. There are other ways to track you on your iPhone, but developers of apps aren't supposed to do that, but it does involve being policed. So they would have to be caught doing that. There have been some surveys that have actually caught people tracking in ways that they shouldn't be. So you have to be aware as an iPhone user that, saying no to tracking doesn't stop tracking altogether.